Welcome to the Civic Circus podcast. I am Spencer Duncan.
And I'm Tevyn Harmon.
Let's start the show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, welcome everybody. So when we started this podcast, and it will continue to be this, its goal was to focus on community. Yeah, we talk policy and that kind of stuff, but it's more about the people, not just the policy. But I guess, as we always used to say, the elephant in the room was during this, I was also running for mayor of Topeka, Kansas. And it would get brought up sometimes when we talked with guests and there was questions, but it wasn't ever the focus of it. And it's not why I started it in the first place. It was not to be like a campaign commercial every week or something like that. However, that campaign is now over. Thank you. I tell people when you run a campaign, I'm glad I did it. It was also 8 months of my life. And when it's over, you're like, deep breath. You get to that point like a week before, you're like, win or lose, I don't care. Just get to the end game. But so what we thought we would do this episode was just go ahead and address it head on. And so I said to my producer, hey, Tevyn, why don't you just come in here and you can ask me some questions, whatever you think you should ask me. So this is kind of a special edition of the Civic Circus podcast that, hey, woo, I won and now I'm the mayor-elect. And I'm not even sure I know what that means yet. But we just thought this would be today's episode. So just something a little different for people out there.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you for having me on and, allowing me to ask you these questions. It's a learning and being behind the scenes throughout the whole podcast that we've been doing it's opened up my knowledge on, not necessarily politics, because like you said, you didn't start this to dive into politics, but the guests that come in and ask certain questions, and you actually being able to explain it and not being like, well, yeah, that's just the policy. You going through details.
Kind of like because I tell every guest, bring some questions. I don't want to know what they are. And for like the first 6 or 7 episodes, everybody asked about the hotel.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll answer it. I've answered it 1,000 times. I'll answer it every time you ask. But it's like, oh my gosh, everybody asked that question.
Yep. At the end, I always like, so why'd you buy the hotel? But it's just, but I mean, we post videos and everything like that and campaign, and I see always in your comments, it's like the hotel. I'm just like, guys, we get it, we understand, and he's explained it numerous times.
And I would say it's totally fair question.
Yeah,
it was,
Yeah.
And it'll still be a question until we finally
for sure
get rid of that thing and sell it off.
For sure.
But it's always funny but it also shows you too. You do it enough that some of the same different people still want answers to the same questions.
Yeah.
So, which is a good thing. It's good to know what people out there are wanting to know about.
For sure. I think my first question, I guess, would be with you becoming the mayor-elect, how much pressure has it relieved, but almost how much has it been like, oh, now here we go?
Yeah, that's a good question, because campaigns are definitely stressful, and they're very different than your normal life, because I want to say this the right way. It's harder to say no to stuff, right? I mean, you don't ever want to. I never want to say no, which is part of my own problem. But if a little group calls you and says, "I need you this Tuesday," you can't just say, "Well, can we reschedule for a month from now?" Because either the election's coming up, or they're like, "No, this is your window, so you got to go."
Yeah,
right. You can't fit it into your natural schedule, even if you want to go talk to that group. And so that is a little more pressure, especially when you're balancing work and life and my council duties and my family, because you're like, hey, I'm not home tonight. I thought you were. No, I got a call. I have to go tonight. You know? So that kind of pressure just adds up, because that goes nonstop for months and months and months. Because I announced I was running for mayor in February. Election was November 5th. So that is that's the whole year.
Yeah,
That's my whole year has been campaign. Now that's a choice, as my wife says, life choices, man. Right? So that's a life choice, and I'm glad to do it. But yeah, it's a different kind of pressure, and then it's just the pressure of, am I doing right? What did I have to do today? I got to walk doors. I got to put out signs. Did I check this box? Did I post on social media? Did I return all the emails? Did I get everyone called back? That is a constant checklist with a little more pressure to it when you're on the campaign trail, because things are a little more time sensitive at that point. Yeah. So then you get to election night, and like I said earlier, you're like, let's just get there. Can we just get to that point? Win, lose, or draw, you're like, let's just go. And then obviously when you win, like I said before, I've lost an election before and I've won one. Yeah. Winning's a lot better. Losing, isn't that much different, in the sense that you wake up the next day and it's the same world, it's the same problems, it's the same people you live with in the house. It's not like things change that dramatically, win or lose yet. Yeah. But then, to your point, but eventually they will, because 2 months from now, January 6th is when I'll be sworn in. Then it's like, okay, you went out into the world for 8 months and you told people, this is my vision. This is what I hope we can accomplish. This is how I want to get there. Well, you better do it now.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I said on election night, I told the group, I said, I really have always, people say a lot of things during elections. And I've always tried to say not say anything during an election that I didn't mean, and not to promise anything that I didn't think was actually attainable. And so I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
You
See
get
what's
to hold it.
attainable, yeah.
But I mean, I really do believe that everything I've put out in the universe during that campaign, or that I sat down with groups and that we came up with and talked about together, are things we can actually do. And if they weren't, I'm hopeful enough. I was at least realistic enough to be like, that's a great idea. I cannot accomplish that. Or you need to go talk to somebody else about that. And I'm sure there's a few things in there that maybe are a little more aspirational than they may be, but you got to shoot for something every once in a while. So yeah, it'll be a different kind of pressure because you're the only person elected by everybody in their city.
Yeah.
And so that comes with the responsibility of representing everybody. There's people who didn't vote at all. There's people who did not vote for me. And then there's all the wonderful people who did support me and vote for me. But I represent all of them.
Yeah.
And that pressure is to make sure that they all have some kind of input at times into the process. So yeah. I don't know if that piece has hit me just yet. Because you get that you get past the election, you're like, oh, I just need a nap. I just need to chill. And then I need that little break. Yeah. And then, we'll get to kind of Thanksgiving, and then I'll really start to be like, oh gosh, I need to focus on what it's going to look like so I can hit the ground running. I was asked, I think it was on KSNT, I was asked, like, what are your plans? Because they always talk about the first 100 days.
Yeah,
right?
yep.
And I said, well, my first 100 days is going to be about doing those things I promised about, bringing people into the fold and listening to them. Because then I want to make sure that the next 1,000 days I'm doing the right thing. So you don't want to try to cram it all in the first 100. Because I have to get through the first 100. Like, oh wait, there's still 3.5 years left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yes, I'm glad the campaign pressure's over. I haven't quite felt the hey, I got elected pressure. But don't worry, it'll hit. When I'm eating that turkey on Thanksgiving, I'm gonna be like, oh damn, it's Thanksgiving.
Yep. And then especially Christmas, it's like I got a big Christmas gift.
Christmas,
like it's
New Year's,
coming.
and then I will say it. Sometimes the universe is funny. So I'm getting sworn in on January 6th, which will actually be my birthday.
Oh, wow.
So go figure.
There you go.
I get sworn in as mayor is also my birthday.
That's awesome.
That's kind of just a random universe thing. That's kind of
it's
planets aligned.
Yeah, and I don't want to, I mean, how old are you turning?
50.
Oh, so it's even, right
so
there.
It's even,
right.
It's
Man,
even like
that's awesome.
The midway mark too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess, my next question was like, what can the residents see in the next 100 days? But before going into that, you had mentioned that, it's kind of, the same family. You go home, same family.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, because when we got married, me and my wife, we were like, everybody kept asking like, oh, so what's it feel like? I was like, well, we were together for like 4 years. Right. So it's, I mean, now we just have paper, I guess.
Right, yeah.
So
because me and my wife lived together for a year before we actually got married, and then we moved.
And you've been in politics, and you've been around it for so long that it's just kind of like, okay, now I just have a bigger title, and things like that.
I mean,
you
my
have to answer to more
12,
people.
and I've been elected for half his life. So when since he's been in kindergarten, so to him, it's kind of like, okay, this is Dad's never home on Tuesday night. I know, because that's when we have council meetings, But he's adjusted to in a good and bad way. Like I think he knows. We've tried to instill in him, like, buddy, if you don't think I'm not here for something, tell me.
Yeah.
I need to know. Like, if great, I will scale back if I need to, or not go to something because you're right. I haven't been home for 4 nights or whatever. Like, speak up. And I think I've said before, like, it was not a me and a wife conversation when I ran for mayor. It was a me and the kid and the wife conversation, because it was like, Connor, we're thinking of doing this. On the one hand, some of it doesn't change because I've been there, but some of it does. Like there may be some extra stuff, and there's extra scrutiny, and more people know who the mayor is than they do the council people sometimes. Like, but if you're not cool with it, man, let's talk about it now, because I'm not blowing up the family life or ruining the kids' world just to say, ooh, I got elected mayor. And so we had a family conversation about it, because, and I've said before, you can't do it without them.
Yeah, you gotta have to strong
literally
backbone.
Can't. We had someone who ran for office who said, yeah, I went and filed, and then I told my wife after the fact. And I'm like, how? Like, how can you do it that way? Like, there is no way. Because I remember the first time I ran, I said, if this is not something that fits into our life, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, tell me now. I don't want there to be resentments 4 years in. Like, I really never wanted you to do this. Whoa. And I think we have a good enough relationship. She would have been like, no.
Yeah.
Because when I first got married, I ran that campaign when the year we got married.
Oh, wow.
And so that was kind of like, we literally got married a month before the election. And so we were planning a wedding and running a campaign at the same time.
Jeez, yeah.
And she still married me, so I know,
Yeah,
I know that's how she was all in.
Yeah, she was good
she
for it.
said,
Yeah.
She still said I do. So
That's awesome. I know on the watch party night, Connor was there, and then he came in. You know, you took a picture with him, and then you ran back downstairs. I was like, "You must be playing a game."
Yep.
He was like, "Yep."
He's like, brought his laptop. He's like, I don't care what's happening.
Yeah.
You're mayor, cool. I gotta go play some Roblox.
Yep, I'm going to
man.
play,
I
yep.
got a hardcore Roblox game going on
Yep.
down here, and that's all that matters. Which is good too, because it gives you keeps you humble, gives you
Mhm.
that perspective of like, yeah, there's a lot of important stuff out there, but sometimes just go play some Roblox.
For sure, yeah, for sure. You just
that's
got to get
what
away.
Most kids out there right now are just worried about the basics. They're
Mhm.
not focused on this stuff, and most families out there just want us to focus on taking care of those basics. So,
Absolutely,
so yeah, it's good to have that someone to yank you down every once in a while, like
for
your
sure.
kid.
For sure, yeah, and they will.
Oh yeah,
they will
There's
for
no
sure.
mercy
They'll-
in our household.
Yeah, no, that's the same with Hezzy. He's
Which is
just
good. We've
yeah.
raised him that way, and
Yeah.
now we're suffering the consequences
Yeah,
of having a
absolutely. There's
strong,
times-
independent child.
He questions me, and I'm just like, I just have to pull it. Who's the adult here? And it's like, you might be right just a little bit, but I have to say it. Like, I have
You're
to make
smarter
sure.
than I want you to be.
Yeah.
But not really. I just don't want to admit it yet.
Exactly. All right. Now, so a little like not necessarily political question or anything, but did you go home and eat tacos?
I have had some tacos.
Yeah, good,
I had
good.
those Tacos, yeah.
I
yeah.
remember asking you on the Tev Talk was
I gotta like,
first meal.
you know, you get to the campaign too because you're gone a lot at night. You get home late for meetings and stuff.
Mhm.
Your diet gets so bad. And now I'm like, now the campaign's over. I gotta eat.
clean it up.
And I can't. I'm surprised I'm still alive right now. The
Just
heart's
eating-
still good.
Yeah, I mean, you always have zero Dr.
I
Pepper,
know,
so
I know.
you're
At least
good.
it's the zeros, but I'm like, man, you can't. It's not even, and then it's sometimes not even what you eat. It's like eating at 10 o'clock at night and then going to bed. Like that's not good.
Yeah, it's not, yeah,
So I
no.
gotta. It gives you time to readjust everything. Like all right,
Absolutely.
do a little better, buddy, because we're gonna
Absolutely.
be here those next 50 years.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's true. Okay. So I have. So I'm not texting or anything during
No,
the
you're
interview.
fine.
I have
You can if you
a lot of
want.
questions. I have a lot of questions that I just wanted to make sure that I answered or asked the right question and not fumbled over my words.
It's
But
funny you say that because I will say sometimes, here's some inside baseball for people on the council. When you're sitting at the council days,
Uh-huh.
the camera's on whoever's speaking.
Mhm.
Now they'll have some wide shots sometimes during presentations, but when you're talking, so we can see that. We can see what's
oh, okay.
so you
What's
can
being
look on your
projected.
phone, and people don't know you're on your phone.
Yeah.
Now, majority of the time, I'm on my phone because I'm looking like we're talking about something,
Mhm.
and I want to be like, wait, what does that mean? Or
Yeah,
or I'm
yeah.
looking up my email real quick. Like, I think someone emailed me about that.
Mhm.
But so I always tell people, I'm like, but sometimes, so if you're in the audience, you'll be like, man, he's on his. What's he doing? Is he texting somebody? No, I am looking up stuff. I swear, it's official business. But that's we live on our phone.
Putting in your taco order for
You know,
afterwards.
and once in a while, I will say, well, like my mom used to text me during meetings. And
Yeah,
I used to look, and she'd be like, "Don't you dare vote for that!" I'm like, "Sorry, mom, I love you, but I gotta
do
vote."
it.
But so you do get some texts and some, but yeah, mostly you're looking up stuff. So, but people at home watching on TV don't see that, but people in the audience, are like, but
Yeah.
you wait, and then when the camera gets to you, you're like, you put it down, like, yes, I'm listening intently.
I got it.
That dude
I
was
knew
just on his
exactly.
phone 10 seconds
Yeah.
ago. But I don't think I can do that. You know, the mayor sits in the middle, so I think I'm gonna have to not be able to do that.
Yeah, and I'll be able to do it too much. Well, at least you could be like, well, let me just clarify. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
ways around it.
There was a
but-
story, this happened a couple years ago, where somebody was like Christmas shopping on Amazon during not here. It was in Kansas.
I think I
but at
heard.
at like a council meeting,
Mhm.
and the reporter who was there was like, "Were you Christmas shopping?" And they were like, "No." Well, they were using their
their account.
issued ID
Mhm.
account, and so they did a Quora request, and sure enough, it has all their
Christmas. Mhm.
scroll, and they're like, which I'm like, first of all, just admit it.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. I shouldn't have been doing it, but I
Yeah.
was Christmas shopping during a council meeting.
Transparency.
But I can
Transparency.
honestly say I've never Christmas shopped during a council meeting. so.
That's good. And speaking of transparency, how will you ensure transparency in decision making? You know, during council
Yeah.
or just outside of council, because I'm sure you're gonna have people. They know you now, so
Right.
they'll come up to you in public. With family or not, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. I think it's just generally partly doing what I've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
which is like I've told people I will still have open office hours. I'm gonna have to restructure them a little because in theory more people might show up, and so you got to, but you still want to give everyone fair time, but
Yeah.
also know that you don't get a half hour.
Yeah.
Like I got 10 people here,
Yeah.
but I also want to make sure you're heard.
Mhm.
But so I think being out in the community and just answering questions on a regular basis, doing things like open office hours. I've also talked about putting together some like commissions and task force. And those are still, I think, posted on my website at duncanfortopeka.com that people can see that. And what I've said about those is because people are like, we don't need another. I said, no, these only talk to me. They don't go
Yeah.
to staff. They don't go to other elected officials. I sit in the room, you guys can do the work and maybe I'm there, but if I come in and then you tell me this is like, you're the audience, nobody else. And we wish you would do this or hear what we're hearing in the community because you need to hear it. Because I think that takes down that wall that gets built up between City Hall and government. And then I think it's also just making sure that we're putting information out there. I think there are times where I don't think sometimes it might be, but I don't think it's generally intentional. Like we'll do something and we'll put out like the quick press release and we'll answer a few questions. And I'm always like, we could have put more out there. And sometimes the response is, well, but they don't have time to report on all that. I said, that's not the point. We put all those press releases online. People can then go see the additional information and it gives those reporters context and maybe they will report on it.
Yeah.
And so I think even little things like that will make a big difference. I'll also tell you, I think you're going to see some changes in even some things like how we handle body cam footage with our police department. Policies like that and in other areas of our different departments about how we handle that information that I think are positive for people.
Yeah.
I know employees, we're going to have some tough conversations about why, but other communities do it. So I think those ways too will show a lot more transparency that we're willing to show people this is how we operate. This is your government.
Yeah.
We need to show people that. So,
I love that.
I think that'll come probably early next year, first quarter next year that our chief and some others are working on those policies, but those are definitely out there.
That's good. That's good, honestly, because I know, like I said, I've just learned a little bit and things like that. But I know body cam. I watched some of the city council meetings and people were bringing that up.
There are cities that it's a fine line because I want officers to be protected. I mean, we all, even the people who have concerns, agree they have a very tough job.
Yeah.
They are critical, and when you're in an emergency, they are who you're going to call, right?
Absolutely.
But there does come a point where the cities, I think that, and I'm not saying we're going to go this far, but I use it as an extreme. There's some cities who put everything almost online. They literally have YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And they're like, we just dump it out there. And then, and what happens over time is people then understand how to watch that footage. So it's also an education. So then when really difficult situations arise, I think it helps people in those communities better interpret what they're seeing because they've been watching it already. And so now they understand it's shaky, it's grainy, it doesn't show everything, but it shows this. And the angles are different. And it's 4 different.
Yeah.
But it's not as like, I've never seen this before. It's, they put most of I see this.
Yeah.
The other thing too is most of our interactions with officers are positive, not negative.
Yeah.
Why not put those out in the world sometimes too? Yeah, this was what a stop looks like in Topeka, Kansas sometimes. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Everyone did what they were supposed to. So I think that builds more trust, but I totally understand why officers and others have concerns with that approach. So I'm not sure we're going to go all the way and dumping it all on the internet, but I think we can do better than never releasing anything.
Yeah.
I think we've taken it too far to the extreme.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's transparency. I used to be a sheriff's deputy at Shawnee County, and I tell people all the time, like, the reason why I left is nobody calls you when they win the lottery.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is a tough job. Like, I got elected in or sworn in when, right before Ferguson happened and all these riots and things were going on. And it was like, not to necessarily only make it about the pay, but it was like, am I really, is it really worth, like
worth
me, making $16 an hour when all these things are going on? And, it's just like, it's just a hard situation, all around, like citizen and as a law enforcement officer. My background, my family's background is law enforcement, so it's definitely a hard situation. But like you said, more transparency.
Yeah, because I believe in the long run that benefits everybody more than it hurts them.
Yeah,
but it's hard to convince people that sometimes.
Yeah,
they believe it's easy. No, if people don't know or can't see, or if we can insulate ourselves, then that's. I'm like, in the end, that catches you more than it. And it help, you gotta understand that putting that stuff out there will help you in the long run better.
For sure.
It also builds goodwill and trust.
Yeah.
I mean, people, it's kind of like trust cannot go one way.
No.
And that's the problem with government is too much. It asks that too much. Hey, trust us because we're the government.
Yeah.
No, I don't trust you because you're the government.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you haven't given me a reason to trust you.
Yeah.
Like I want to because I need you in some aspects, but you don't give me a lot of reasons sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we sort of demand trust without earning it. And I think that's part of it. What I hope I can do as mayors, sort of build those bridges in all those different areas. So people still may not always like what we do, and they still may have concerns, but at least they'll be like, well, most of the time, at least Topeka's pretty open with what they're doing.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. Like people ask me, because I tell people, that ask like, what do you do on, usually we record Wednesday nights, right? they're like, well, what do you do on Wednesday nights? Why do you always have this? It's like, well, I do the podcast and I do it for, the candidate, the mayor candidate.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, how is he? I was like, man, he's honestly a really cool, like really chill guy.
Like he never yelled at me.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think he's throwing anything at me. I can't remember.
I can't. No, it's always a very chill, very like getting to know you, because when I was on the website, I had announced like, hey, I'm gonna run for mayor, a satire article.
Right.
And so many people hit me up and they're like, blah, 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 you should do it. You got my vote. And I was like, yo, like, y'all gotta chill. Like y'all didn't read at the bottom that it was satire.
Right.
So then I addressed it in a different article where I was like, hey, if I did run for mayor, this is what I'd see, but I'm not. And then that's when me and you got in contact. And then we sat down and had a meeting and it was like, yo, like this guy is like, I mean, I stand behind you because you were very transparent, and you're very, I don't know, I always say humanized, like you were a person.
I try not to get, everybody has their moments. Like I have moments, of course, where I'm like, what the hell's going on? And, moments of rage. Who doesn't? That's human nature. And moments of just like, oh, But I really do try to stay even keel, right?
Yeah.
And not let the big things just make me react too quick one way or the other. Because I think, and that did not come naturally. Like that's years of, I mean, I'm almost 50, right?
Yeah.
You get older, you try, you
Wisdom.
figure some of that out. Like, okay, don't hit send on that email, even though you want to, and the things you want to say, or, before you blast somebody in person, or take a breath before you don't schedule the meeting tomorrow. You can wait 2 days before because you need those moments of like, just how serious is it? Take a minute to realize how important is this? Where does it really rate? Because I think sometimes people get to everything is just rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
And then at that point you're like, well, I don't know what makes you mad, what makes you happy, because you're always rah, And so, I think that goes a long way. And same with that. Yeah, you wrote that article and I reached out and I was like, I don't disagree with you. Because part of your point was people don't run because you people out there are brutal.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's
It's
truth
hard.
to that. Like it's okay to ask tough questions and be upset or whatever it is, but there does come a point where if you've never run before, and even when you have, you start getting these questions and emails and nastiness, and you're like, whoa, you don't even know me. And that's fair. I can't, I'm not going to ever get to know every single one of you on. But come on, take a look at check me out a little before you just make these assumptions and call me horrible names. But why do you want to put yourself through that? Like we need good people to run for office.
Yeah.
And the problem is we're creating a system. Two things. First, the cost of running for office.
Is it that?
It's unreal. It's
really
because the cost of everything has gone up.
For sure.
But if you're running for the mayor's office, you have to buy at least one TV ad. You have to. The signs, just getting printed signs that go out all over the world.
Yeah.
Mailings. You have to send a couple mailings out.
Oh, wow.
Postage is crazy. Like basic, simple, just getting a printed thing to put on people's doors is not as cheap as it used to be. And so raising money is a barrier in these local elections to some degree. And then the second thing is that people's I don't want to do it because I'm afraid if I'm going to open myself up, I'm going to get just torn down. And so good people are like, I'm out. And then that void is filled. And so when you wonder, this is who I have to pick from.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because none of you.
I
get
step
why.
into it.
But let's see if we can help you find a path that helps you make sure you can afford to do it and make sure you don't feel torn down just because you were like, I'm just trying to help the city. I'm just trying to do my part.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
And that's what we need to cultivate is that atmosphere. But that's why I reached out to you and was like, no, you're right.
Yeah,
I agree with you. It's ridiculous.
It's like, you I mean, and you did. And like I said, you always kept your word on everything, and it's much respected. And like I said, the humanizing aspect of it is like, because we all have people can say what they want. People all have those high moments. They have those low moments, and they usually kind of can stay in between. And it's one of those things where people have to be able to step up in those different areas. And people also have to understand that, sometimes that's going to happen, even in the highest, position being held. So people tell me all the time, oh, you're like a celebrity. You're like a celebrity. And I tell people all the time, don't look at me like that. Please don't look at me, because at the end of the day, I'm going to have a depressed day.
I will disappoint you.
Yes.
There will come a moment I will disappoint you.
And I don't want you to think even high celebrities, like people we see on TV, people that win Grammys, people are billionaires, whatever it is, they're still human like you. Like they bleed the same blood. Like they cry the same tears. Like you got to understand that people are still people. They're just more well known than other people.
I think that, I think back in the day when Shaquille O'Neal was like, I'm not a role model. And that was his point. Like,
yeah.
you can respect me and you can, great. But at the end of the day, I'm going to disappoint you. So I'm not a role model because I'm a human being who's going to do stupid stuff. And at some point, you're going to be like, oh, he disappointed me.
Yeah,
He's like, I know. I knew that was coming. Like,
it happens.
I'm out there in public and you're going to see me at my best times and my worst times. But I also think it's important when you're in a position of authority, whether you're the mayor, whether you're a city manager, when you're leading a city, you're going to have those moments, but you also have a responsibility to show people I'm not unhinged. Like, I'm not going to go off half-cocked. I'm going to be level-headed when I can because so that they feel a sense of like, okay, I may not always agree with him, but at least he looks like he's actually in control of some stuff and he's going to help us solve these problems and move us forward.
For sure.
If you're the opposite of any of that, then that's people like, oh, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Or, like, great. This is why nothing moves forward. This guy, and so I think you do have a responsibility to try to show people that, I'm here to, I'll internalize some of this stuff for you folks because that's what I'm here to do. And I'll go home and close the door and scream into a dark room and get it all out of my system. But when I'm standing at the podium or at a meeting or representing the city, I have a responsibility to be like, yep, I'm going to stay focused on what's important and not just always let every little thing set me off one way or the other.
For sure. Now, when you do get to that point, leading into this next question, what, beside your house, beside your office, do you have a place where you go to, just kind of zen out, get some work done outside, like a local
Can you
spot?
zen out while you get work done?
Yeah. I mean, that hey, it could be possible. It depends on how much you like your work.
Usually I can get usually for the work piece, if I just come to the office here, like not at home, because home's just a distraction, right? You're like, I'm at home. I can just watch TV for a while. Oh, 3 hours went by. Well, I'm done for the day. Right. Like, so work is just getting into a different place. I'm okay at working from home, like in spurts, but all the time. I learned that during COVID. That was hard. Really, like, I want to go back to that. People are like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I need to go back to an office sometimes. But yeah, I think but just to get away from things or at least tune out things or, my wife and I walk sometimes, like just around the neighborhood even. It's simple. I mean, really just getting outside. Yeah. Like just getting somewhere else. I will see if you come on you can see my backyard because I'm behind, everyone already knows where I live. Yeah. I'm behind Christ the King Church.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not uncommon on a Sunday night, if you're in the Christ the King parking lot, you'll see a fire and a dude sitting in a chair just chilling by the fire. Sometimes I have a TV on if there's a game on, like I'll pull the TV out to the back patio, or sometimes I'll just listen to the radio or music out there. My wife's inside chilling and I'll be outside chilling. That honestly, like that's a time where nobody's around. It's a Sunday night, like late 8 o'clock at night. It's cold, it's warm, it's whatever. The fire's burning on the back patio, and I'm just like, it gives you a chance to just listen to something, watch a game, or just kind of chill. And
that's awesome.
That's a good zen kind of just like, hey, great, I can just relax. And if I need to think about stuff, great. And if I want to just focus on whatever I'm listening to or watching,
cool. Yeah.
But so honestly, so that's kind of a nice spot to we had to get a new sewer line. So that was sucked. Yeah. For all of you out there who had to get new sewer lines, that was awful. The benefit of that was we then had to tear up our back patio, which again, that stunk. But it gave us a chance to build a nice new one. So we're like, all right, we'll build a nice new little patio. We had to, but
that's awesome. That honestly, and like you said, walking. People underestimate walking.
Oh, I know. Much. The doctors are like, just walk.
Yeah.
Doc, you're not exercising. Dude, just walk.
Just
That's
walk.
Exercise.
You do not have to do anything crazy. Right. Just walk. Try to walk 2 miles. If you walk 2 miles a day, most people will be in a caloric deficit to where they can lose weight. Yeah. As long as they're not just eating,
right, nonstop. Like nonstop. Crap at 10 p.m. at night right before you go to sleep. Right, exactly. But that's right.
It happens, but
that's exactly right.
Yeah, and walking is so underrated. People just overlook it so much. Like, I'm 32 and like I go for 2 mile walks, and I even got a walking pad at my house in my living room. So because I do work from home, and like you said,
when it snows and stuff, or rain and too cold, you're like, I'm not going. I still need to walk.
I still need to get my steps in. Now sometimes do I sit on the couch and eat Twizzlers?
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're not going to tell everybody, but
we don't care. It's not that you eat them; it's how many do you eat.
Yeah, right? That's true. I think the best thing is the Halloween candy. I think that's the best thing ever because you can get a bag. And I might have 15 of them, but if you look
that really only equals like 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I really only ate 4.
I really only ate 4, and they're in spurts, Because now, if I have a bag, I'll eat the whole bag. Like that's the problem. All right, now if you could describe leadership in 3 words. What's your friends? Would your friends actually agree with you? Or would they be like, eh? I feel like honestly, I feel like
In 3 words?
yeah, or it could be more than
Yeah.
3 words.
Like, how would I describe leadership in 3
Yeah,
words?
how would you describe your leadership in 3 words?
Oh, well, oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever thought of it that way. I do believe in this. I can do it in 4 words, right?
Okay, you could use as many words.
No, it's fine. But I don't be the smartest.
Oh yeah.
I really do believe in that. And I've told people this all the time, whether it's in my job, whether it's as an elected official, like I will never know everything. I cannot be an expert on everything.
Mhm.
Like in working at the League of Kansas Municipalities, we deal with so many different issues for cities. So I reached a point over there where I'm like, I'm not going to be an expert on the water problems of our state.
Mm.
I can understand them, but so we have someone in the office. I'm like, you're the new water,
Yeah.
like, and she's like, great, and she's embraced it, and she can tell you all that because she can have that capacity. I'm like, I will never be able to be that smart, or at least analyze it all because you got to carry all this stuff. And so I think people get concerned about wanting to be the smartest person in the room and not surround. I'm like, fine, I don't care. Surround me with everybody who's smarter to figure out the problem. I don't need to be the one who has every answer, and I'm not going to be.
No, yeah,
It's literally impossible. I will tell people right now, I do not have every answer, and I will not be able to find every solution.
Yeah.
But other people can because they're smart, and you have to be willing to not only bring them in. That's actually the easy part. It's then letting them take a lead and some credit for it.
Yeah.
Like, great. I'll take all the credit for it. Yes, I got them together. They solved the problem. But
yeah.
I invited them.
Yeah,
right?
brought them
Like,
to the
I get that
table.
credit.
Yeah,
I put them in the same room together.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do think that's important. And that's gotten a little cliched because I think a lot of people say it. But I think if you look back, I'm like, did they really do it? Or did their ego at some point not let them be like, yeah, okay, I needed to be, at least think I was the smartest person.
Yeah. I think the one of the quotes, I want to say it's Napoleon Hill, but it's one of the ones is like, one thing I know is I know nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way as a leader, like you have to be that way, because like you said, I think a great leader puts the pieces together. They don't have all the answers, but they put people in the right position to make sure that those answers or those job responsibilities get filled the right way,
Well, and you have to let people do their job.
Yeah.
I mean, I think sometimes the other thing that happens is you bring people in and then you don't let them do their job. And at some point, if you can't trust them, then you need to deal with that issue.
For sure.
But you have to get to a point where you're like, great, I've hired you or I've entrusted you to do this. Okay. And if I disagree, we'll talk about it. And if I have different ideas, I hope you're going to listen.
Yeah.
And then if I'm your boss, that may reflect on, you know, and that's fine. That's how it's supposed to work. But at some point, you can't micromanage those people. You have to trust them to say, I've put you in this position to do this. Great.
Yeah.
Go do it. And we'll talk about it as we walk through. And that's hard for people too, because they don't do it exactly the way they would have done. Well, of course not. We're all different. But did they get to what you wanted? Are they solving the problem? Are they getting to where you want? And we have that problem on the council. I mean, there's 9 of us, 10 if you count the mayor, but there's 9 council members. We're all very different people. We all have different backgrounds, different ways we approach things. Some of us have been bosses, some of us haven't, some of us has owned business, some of us haven't, some of us, lots of different roles. And so our perspectives are different. And so there's always conversations we have constantly. Well, I wish so-and-so would do it this way. And then someone's like, well, me too, but who cares? They got it done.
Yeah, they got it done.
I hear what you're saying. And if they're not getting it done, how can we help them? And again, if you've reached that point where this ain't working, then deal with that however that is. But if you just are always going to micromanage people, good luck. It'll drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Because again, you can't do it all, especially when you take over city government. Again, we have almost 1,200 employees. We've got 12 departments. We're trying to fix streets and water, and police and fire. Like, I'm not going to be an expert on all of those things. Like, it's literally not possible. I have to trust the staff that we have, and if there's issues there, we'll deal with it.
What is one of your, you say fire, water, roads? What is one of your main interest out of all those?
Yeah. Just in general, like I'm still very interested in how we're going to solve housing issues.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one that because I think, we have a fire chief, we have a police chief, and we've got a city manager who's brought in some deputy, one who's a former police chief himself. And so at some point, again, I'm going to trust them. I got ideas and suggestions, and they're going to hear them. Trust me, don't you worry. But I mean, you got to trust those people to do that. And we have some people working on housing, but it's not as defined in that respect. We really don't have, we have a planning department,
Mhm.
And we have people doing really good work in terms of helping people facilitate our HUD dollars to find housing and homelessness. We don't really have anybody who's helping figure out the housing problem in Topeka per se, right?
Gotcha.
That's just
Yeah.
not a job we have. So we're going to have to do that as a community with developers and builders and realtors and, marketing folks and those people. And so that's, I think, something I think the mayor can actually say, okay, let me try to take a lead on this, because we do need affordable housing.
We do.
So I'm going to preface it with, like, we really do.
Mhm.
But we can't let the other housing options get lost in this either, because we have people who are currently in what I would call affordable housing situations who are ready to move up to the next level. We don't have that next level housing.
Mhm.
Well, if I can build some of those people can move up, and hey, it frees up some current housing,
Yeah.
and vice versa. I talked to the CEO of a company here who said it's hard, and I'm not in this bracket either, people, but the point is this: if I want the CEOs to live here, if I want high level, high paying people to stay here, guess what? It means I have to have some high end housing too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't do us any good as a community to have people making a lot of money running these very big companies living in Douglas County, Johnson
Yeah.
County, Overland Park, Wyandotte, and driving in here.
Yeah.
How's that good for us? I want their money here. I want them
Mhm.
to live here. I want them to be a part of this community, to help us develop it, not feel like, yeah, I like Topeka, I work there, but then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
leave,
I
right?
leave, yeah.
So I'm not saying we should start investing. Let's go build a bunch of,
Yeah.
huge homes.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, there's a need for that too. So we need to have an even approach to that to make sure we're filling all of those needs at the same time. And that's gonna take a little work. But yeah, there's no one in the city who does that
Yeah.
specifically. And so
Makes sense.
I think that's something I really hope. If you look 4 years from now, I hope we can say, oh man, we got a lot more housing, because that's how we're gonna get more population too, especially with the affordable people.
For sure. Yeah, for
If I
sure.
want more people to live here and work here, gotta be able to actually afford to live here,
Yeah.
to buy a house. So that's a big one, and I think the other stuff. I'll focus on all of it.
Yeah,
As much
yeah.
as you can focus on
But-
all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, at some point you have to pick a couple things you think you can really drive
Yeah.
forward and actually accomplish. Because again, you only have 4 years, which sounds like a long time.
Yeah.
When you're talking policy and having to get things passed by a council and find funding for it and work with community groups and start to build things or make things or create things, it takes suddenly 2 years go by and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
I'm half done.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get it moving.
Yeah. And you can, is there a, I'm still learning more into all
Yeah.
this stuff, so just work with me here. But
Yeah.
for your council seat, do you choose who replaces you, or how does that work?
So in Topeka, under our charter, when a council seat's vacated, we don't have another election. The
Okay.
council fills the position, and then whoever's assigned to that seat gets it until the next election, and then they
Gotcha,
can either
yeah.
run for it or not.
Okay.
So in
okay.
this case, what's going to happen is my resignation will be effective the minute I'm sworn in on
Mhm.
January 6th. That now starts a clock under our charter. So I think the next day or the day after, there'll be a release out that people can now apply for that seat. So obviously
Okay.
you have to live in District 8. So
Yeah.
sorry if you don't live in District 8. Although we don't have any rule on timeline. So I guess if you want to move to District 8 now to apply
Now's
for
your
the job,
time,
now's
yeah.
your chance. Get over there, get a residence, and
Yeah.
apply for it. But and then we'll take applications for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then we'll close it, and then we have to pick from those applicants. So let's say we get 6 people who applied. If they're all crazy and we're like, oh my gosh, too bad, we have to pick
You have
one
to
of those
pick
crazy
one.
people,
Oh,
right?
goodness, yeah.
So hopefully you good people out there,
Yeah.
this is a chance though, if you're truly interested and you don't want to go through a full election, you might have a
Just your
shot. So
time.
here's,
Yeah.
go through the whole, and then we will interview them all in person in a public meeting.
Oh,
In
okay.
a council. And I think I may be off by a week, but I think on the schedule that might be like the first meeting in February, council meeting in February. We'll be just interviewing those candidates with the goal, and then we'll vote as
Yeah.
a group. And if whoever gets the most votes on the next meeting will get sworn in as the new council person for that seat, and then fill it for 2 years
Oh, nice.
for the
Okay.
next election. So that's how we got actually Michelle Hofer.
Yeah.
We had someone, Mike Lesser resigned, and so we've put her on the council, and she served that almost 3 years before she just won re-election.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, she was there for a while. So, but yeah, that's how we fill it. So,
Nice.
so it's kind of an interesting process. I had
Yeah.
somebody who said I might be interested, and I told him, yeah, you got to be interviewed in public. Like, I don't know if I want. I said our meetings are
Yeah,
in
they're
public. Like, if
public
you can't sit
meetings.
there and answer the questions in public, I don't know. Like, that's
Yeah, that's
because
it's hard.
you have to talk a lot in public once you get the
Mhm.
gig. So.
Yeah. Now with the mayor, you can run again after 4 years.
Yeah, we have no term limits.
Okay. Yeah. I gotcha.
On for council or for and people ask me that this year. People ask me about that a lot. Like, would you support term limits? And I've always gone back and
Yeah.
forth. I mean, on the one hand, I'm like, Topeka. Yes, we have 2 councilwomen who are now the longest serving. I mean, Sylvia Ortiz won
Mhm.
re-election, so she will serve 24 years. She was already the longest serving. When she surpassed 16 years, her last election, she became the longest serving. So she's
Wow.
adding to her tally.
Yeah.
Karen Hiller's right behind her. Karen's been on 16 years, just won re-election, so she'll hit the 20-year
20
mark.
mark.
So everything I'm about to say is undercut by those two
Yeah.
examples. But in general, as a whole in the city of Topeka historically, most people have served 1 or 2 terms, and then they've either decided I'm out or they've been voted out. And so we've term limited people pretty regularly in this city. So then I'm kind of so what purpose are we trying? If it's just to get after 1 or 2 council members who might be I get that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the sum of the whole, do
They've
we
been,
really need them? Because history hasn't shown that.
Mhm.
You know, same with the mayor. We have never had a mayor in this community who served 20 years, and
Yeah.
other communities have. And and so I think that's why I always say, if you really want to have the conversation, I'm open to it, but let's really talk about what's the purpose.
Yeah.
And I'll say those elections were, Karen Hiller's election, she's been at 37 votes. That's all she won by, which
Ooh.
isn't many. So
Yeah.
she's not unbeatable, in
Yeah,
the sense
yeah.
that it wasn't like it
people-
was a landslide. And
Yeah. That makes sense.
but we also only had 22% turnout. And I tell people, if you don't think that matters, trust me, it does.
It does. It
I don't know
does.
whether we use her an example because we already have, but I don't know if Hiller would have won by more or less if more people showed up. But in theory, maybe if you have 30%, the other person wins.
Yeah.
Right? Because those are the people who didn't show.
Yeah.
It could also go the other way. She could have gotten
Yeah,
way more
way
votes
more.
and beat them more. But
Mhm.
but you really don't know. Turnout really does have an impact in that.
Yeah.
And so it makes a big difference because they'll tell you in these races it's a lot harder. But as you look at like legislative races through the years, they'll be like, yeah, that person won because turnout was low and the people we thought were going to vote for so-and-so didn't show up. And if they
Wow.
had, they definitely would have won because the numbers, the polling shows that.
Shows it. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
But there's
Now.
no polling in Topeka. It's expensive and none of us can know. People would
Yeah.
be like, what's the polling tell you? I'm like, what polling?
Yeah. What?
I'm like,
I'm
only one person tried to run me over
Yeah.
and most other people are cool. So I think I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Now, out of all the things in Topeka, like all the holidays, and we have the Christmas parade, the St. Patrick's Day parade, Thanksgiving parade.
No, we don't do a Thanksgiving
I was
parade.
gonna say I don't
Yeah.
think we've ever done that. Okay. Now, out of all the holidays, summer, winter, fall, which one is your favorite?
Oh, that's a good question. I do like the Miracle on Kansas Avenue parade. It's a nice one. And partly because it's Christmas, but it always has a big turnout.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been out there a year. I mean, hopefully it's not 20 degrees.
Oh yeah, last year.
I understand it's December and it's winter, so it can be cold, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be brutal. Like
One year, I remember it like sleeted, snowed. It was. I want to say it was a
Oh,
year
yeah,
before last.
yeah.
It was weird. It was
Yeah.
weird.
But it's a good parade. I think
It
just
is.
because it's festive and that time of year is just kind of a nice time of year. So,
Mhm.
so I think that's probably a good parade. I mean, Thanksgiving's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I'm one of those people who's
Food.
like, I don't care about turkey
Yeah.
that much. I know everyone's like, Thanksgiving meal's the best.
Yeah.
In fact, I was listening to something. They're like, it's the best meal ever. I'm like, it's all right.
Yeah,
Like, there's
I
some
feel
good
like-
stuff in it, but like,
I feel
as
like
a
the
whole-
leftovers are better.
right.
Yeah, it's like okay, I don't have to cook no
I'd
more.
rather
All
eat
right, we're
the
good.
turkey sandwich the day after than the actual
Yes.
turkey that day with gravy on
Yes.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine if people think I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm in agreement with
No,
you.
there's other things I like you eat some macaroni and
Yeah.
some sweet potato pie or whatever. Like that stuff's all good. But-
Yeah.
but I can
Shout
eat
out to
that.
my mother-in-law. She makes a good macaroni and broccoli.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
dude, it's really good.
Yeah.
We
So-
fight over it.
Yeah, see? But then I'm always like, I can make this stuff anytime. Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All of it you can
There's
make
stuff
anytime.
at Christmas you can't eat. Well, you can make anything anytime. But there are
Yeah.
things at like Christmas that treats and stuff people only make at Christmas. You're like,
Mm.
yeah, all right. I got to chow down. That
Yeah.
diet starts. There's a reason the diet starts January 1. right?
Yep.
But that doesn't happen as much as Thanksgiving. But I guess it does because I think there are people who only make like their sweet potatoes at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You could have made them in March.
Yeah, like I'd like some yams in March, right?
They do grow all year round. It's not like,
Yeah, it's not like it's only one time a year. You're right. Yeah,
like,
those-
great mashed potatoes and gravy. Yeah, I literally ate those 2 weeks ago.
Yep,
But it's cool.
yeah.
But it's a different gravy. Well, okay, I'll get
Yeah,
turkey gravy. You're
yeah,
right.
cooking. Yeah, we do biscuits and gravies in the morning. So I'm just like, and I never put gravy on like my
Yeah.
turkey or anything.
Yeah.
like that. I'm like, I'm
That's
cool.
how dry it is.
Yeah,
Turkey is I think that's why I'm like turkey. It's
It's
just
dry.
a dry bird.
Yeah, that's
People
true.
try to deep fat fry them, and all I see on the internet is people where they explode.
Blowing things up, yeah.
Because they put
and
their frozen turkey in the
fires.
hot grease and didn't realize, no.
Yeah.
That is how you
can't do
catch your
that.
house on fire. So
Mhm.
so I like
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving in general because everyone comes to our house. I mean, we get lots of family, so you do see a lot of
Yeah.
family. That part of it I like.
Mhm.
But when everyone's like, it's the best meal, it's all right.
Yeah.
all right,
It's good. It's all right. Yeah, it's not the big deal. Now, with you not campaigning anymore, I know during the campaign you were weekends. We see you at the boo at the zoo. We see you. You
Yeah.
know, you're everywhere. So now that that's kind of over, are you?
Yeah,
able
I
to
mean,
enjoy your
again,
weekends?
there's still stuff I'll go out to and
sure.
but like last weekend was the first weekend since who knows when I had nothing on the calendar, and I got the worst cold. And I was like, this
Oh,
is crap.
no.
So I was down all weekend. I'm
Oh,
like, this is
no.
bull, man. I was
Yeah.
gonna do some stuff around the house or chill, like some other thing. No, I was on the couch, like just
Oh, no.
flattened. So this weekend may be similar. Actually there will be a project. It'll be at the mall from Thanksgiving to New Year's, or Christmas at least to New Year's.
Mhm.
So as everyone knows, my mother passed. Most people
Mhm.
know my mother passed during this campaign
please.
just a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And every year she used to set up a snowman village in her house. She has lots of snowmen. She collected so many snowmen. Yeah. And she would set up this village and she'd put them out. And she wouldn't put them all out, but she'd set it up different. Every village was different every year. So this year, if you go out to Westridge starting the week of Thanksgiving and then through Christmas, we're going to set up, we're going to do a giant village with all her snowmen in it. People can just come look. It'll be next to Spencer's Gift on the second floor.
Nice.
And so this weekend, I'm going to go help
okay.
help work on the village with my niece who's going to help do it. So I guess that's my weekend plan this weekend. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so stuff like that, I now have some time to do.
Yeah, it's more family.
kinda
That's more
relate.
like family,
Yeah.
though. You know, family
Yeah, there's more
still.
time to just hang out with the kid and do some stuff around the house. Like we have some stuff, like some stuff we bought to like hang on the walls and
Yeah.
stuff that bought them like 6 months ago. And I'm like, okay, I finally have time.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna hang this stuff up. I swear, like we're gonna get it done.
We moved into our apartment in June, and I hung picture frames. They still got the original. Like
Yeah,
people are
right.
always like, "Who are that?" I was like, "Oh, those are our rich cousins. Don't
Yeah,
worry."
right.
We got them up there, so
like,
we
"I'm
hung
working
them
on
up.
it."
Yeah, and we haven't done nothing. But I will tell you, this year we got a. I was actually like, okay, like I feel like we're on our feet a little bit more this year,
Yeah.
and we love our little apartment, and we actually got a Christmas tree.
Yeah,
Like,
see?
so I was like,
Yeah.
I told my wife, I was like, I want to get a Christmas tree this year and get some like garland, and like, she was like,
Yeah.
let's go. Like before second thoughts happen. So let's go.
I will
Like,
say that was the huge transition in our household because we now
Mhm.
have a fake tree.
yeah. Oh yeah. We always do.
Well,
fake
we did. We
trees.
used to have a real one for years, and we'd go
Ooh.
out, and, you pick it out,
Yeah.
whatever, and it was cool. And there's something fun about that,
That makes sense,
I
yeah.
got pictures when the kid was little, and he'd be out there helping us pick out a tree. But then, yeah, you reach that point where you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And so I love all the. I don't want to hurt you, tree farmers out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but yeah, we made that transition a few years ago, and it's rough, but we did
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
Did it.
that was like a big debate in our house. Not a bad one, but like we went back and forth. Like, should we do it? Should we not? Should we do it? Oh yeah, but it won't die on that. Like,
Yeah,
'cause then
yeah,
they
that's
start to mold in your hand. So
Mhm.
we're like, oh. And plus we got cats, and they would
I
just
was gonna say,
create
did
more
they do
problems
that?
with the real ones and the fake ones. So there was a lot. Kind of amazing how much like contemplation and discussion went into making that change in our life. Like it took up a lot of time.
Yeah,
But,
you look back and you're like, dang,
like, man, we spent a lot of time on
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
I don't spend half my time on half the bigger decisions I make, but we spent a
Yeah.
lot of time on that tree decision. So yeah, we finally flipped to
yeah.
the not real tree.
We
So
got
sorry,
one
tree
there.
farmers, but
Hey, we'll still come by and visit. I don't think I've ever went to a tree farm though. That's not that.
Yeah.
We've never.
we did a combination. We go a couple times. We went to the tree farm. A couple times we went to like just where they already had them pre-cut. So
Oh wow.
switch
Okay.
it up. But yeah, and I don't. So yeah, it was kind of fun to do the
Yeah.
tree farm. I mean, they
I
would
think
cut it
that's-
down. We didn't like take our axe out there.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think I was Paul Bunyan it out on the tree farm. I'd be like, this one.
Yeah.
And the guys would
It's
come
like,
over with the
"Yeah."
chainsaw.
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, cool.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, I've never went to it. We got a Christmas tree this year that they have a Jack Skellington
Oh, yeah.
like tree topper or tree
Yeah.
hugger, but we put it on top, and it's pretty cool. And he's in the corner, has his arms up like this because football, you know?
Right.
So every time someone scores a field goal, it's good. All right, Jack, we're good. So you know you got to make it fun, but
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. I mean, I think really that's all the questions I have for
Yeah,
you.
no, I think that's great. Like I said, I just want to do this so people, again, people will either. It's up to me to convince people if I say it, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah, for
the
sure.
onus is on me, but I also hope people actually take advantage of it because I
Yeah.
think sometimes they're like, whatever,
Yeah,
or
for sure.
and then they're like, is your door really open? My door's really open.
Yeah.
God is my witness, man.
Yeah.
And again, we're not always going to agree. And so I think the thing I've learned through 6 years on the council, you campaign, and the thing, even as mayor, it probably gets amplified is I cannot fix every problem.
No.
Some things city just cannot fix.
Yeah.
There are just some solutions we don't have or we're not capable of or just are not part of what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are the hardest ones because you're right. You are in need or you have a real problem. I cannot help you. Now, I hope I can point you to some resources or put you in a position, do something to help you, guide you to where you can get some help or solve your problem. But I think that's the toughest thing. And I think too many people, they want to say, yeah, like, of course we can fix that and not be like, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
Now the goal is always to get to yes. I tell people, and I think if you lead that way as a city staff, as a city council person, as a mayor, say the goal is always to get to yes. The reality is sometimes it's going to have to be no. But if you're always working towards the yes, you're gonna be in a better spot. But yeah, there's times it's tough. It's tough to tell people I cannot help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Like I'm sorry, and it sucks because your situation is tough. And maybe I can personally help or send someone your way, but I can't.
Yeah.
Nothing the city can help you with. And so I think that's the thing. You just have to be ready to have those conversations. But
you're always open.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're always open. Okay, this made me think of one last question. Jobs in Topeka.
Yeah.
How do you think one way that you, as a mayor, you could support small local, but also, why don't we have an Amazon here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like that's one of my biggest question is like we got Target, we got Walmart, we got Mars, we got all these places that are producing, and running these for Goodyear. It's like do you think we need more jobs here?
Well, we do, but here's what happens, and this is up to us to try to find a solution to. So yeah, it's great, it's awesome that we have Walmart and Mars and Home Depot and Target. And the problem is, let's say I go talk to Amazon today. Amazon's first thing they're going to say to me is, people talk a lot about taxes when you recruit business, and that's definitely a part of the equation.
For sure.
Taxes are too high, but truthfully, that's barely the top 5 of what they ask. What they ask is, what are your schools like? What's your quality of life like? Because I want people to live here. What are your road access? Because if I got to get trucks in and out, or if it's what airplanes, can I get them in here?
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff the big businesses really care about is how can I, if I'm going to drop a big business like Amazon here, what can I access to get? And then one of those is, what is your workforce like? If I need 500 people, do you have 500 people who can walk in here today and work in my warehouse?
Yeah.
You'd like to say the answer is yes. Reality is, there's actually a lot that goes into working in warehouse. I'm a guy who worked in a warehouse. Like people think of it, it's just a warehouse. No, man, there's a lot of things you have to know and be able to do even to work that quote unquote warehouse job. Like it is a job and it is hard work and it takes a skill level. And so then what happens? They ask that question. And then what happens is the other groups in town come to you and say, hey, whoa. If they come here, they're going to steal my people. And then who am I going to draw from? So it's not that I don't want your community to grow and it'd be great to have them here, but also don't screw me.
Yeah.
And then that becomes oh crap, you're right.
Yeah.
So we have to have a pipeline so that if I go out there and say, hey, Amazon, I got the workforce for you. And hey, other folks who are worried about it, that we can fill that pipeline. I don't know that we have that. Right.
Yeah.
And so part of that is creating those workforce development opportunities to show people that we can do it. If you come here, we have a system in place. We don't, as a city, invest in too much of that. We have some very introductory, what I call programs, which are good.
Yeah.
And so, and he was in here before, as we talked to guys like Lazone Grays.
Yeah.
About who's very much like, we need workforce development. And so one of those task force I've talked about putting together is people like him and others in this community who can say, great, what kind of workforce development do we need? What does that look like? Who can we partner with? And how do we make it happen? Right. And get them in a room for a year or so as a task force to be like, how do we do it?
Yeah.
And then let's actually put some real initiatives forward, whether that's working through existing resources like the Washburn Techs of the world, like the organizations Lazone runs and others, or whether that's we need somebody new in here to help us.
Yeah.
And it's partnering with those companies. Hey, you want to make sure you don't lose people. I need some support from you. Maybe that's a space to work from. Maybe that's financial. Maybe that's you come in and help us do some training, but something from you to make sure that that pipeline's there. Because I think even now they'll tell you, if they lose people, they're like, oh man, I need good people who have some qualifications. And then that can trickle down to everybody else.
Yeah.
We think of it in the big terms of those big companies, But then it trickles down to the small business guy who's looking for just one new employee who's like, man, is there anyone competent who
Yeah.
can help me do this work and work in my little business in some capacity? Yeah, there is, because we got this. Go to this workforce training and development program we got and see if anyone over there is
That's awesome.
ready. So I think that's how we have. But we have to develop that pipeline, or else they're not just
Yeah,
going to
no.
magically show up here because we're like, we're the capital city.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You need to help us train people to work here.
Mm-hmm. That I like that. Yeah, I didn't know all that. I did all that.
Yeah, that's the
to come
dominoes
into
that
play.
fall, and that's what makes
Yeah.
it really complicated. Because you don't want to upset your current partners, but you
Mhm.
definitely would like the new partner.
Yeah,
right? So
for
how do
sure.
you manage them all so they're not all
Yeah.
then at war with each other? Because you want them to be part of the community, not
Yeah.
and you want them to expand here. You don't want them to say, okay, they brought them in, it's fine. We were looking at closing a place in 2 years. We'll just close the Topeka place. I want to be like,
yeah.
no. I want you
Yeah.
when you expand, I want you to expand in Topeka,
Yeah.
which is what Mars has done.
Yeah.
It's been great. They bought that extra land and they've expanded because they're like, Topeka's been great to us and they've helped us develop. Great. That's what I want. That's what I want Target and Home Depot and
Yeah.
everybody else to do.
Yeah,
Walmart.
yeah.
That's what I want all of them to do too.
Yeah. No, that I just always wondered. I was like, how don't we have Amazon? But I get when you really talk about that, it really makes sense. You know,
There's a lot of jobs.
It is. Yeah.
And you hope at some point, maybe people will move here, but
Yeah.
then if I don't have anywhere for them to live,
I was just gonna say that's when it comes back
Right?
around though. It's that
That's
full
the
circle.
thing. It's
yeah.
all
Yeah.
connected. A lot of these things are so connected
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's hard when you talk to people to be like, folks, it's not checkers, man. It's chess some days. It really is. You
Yeah.
have to understand this piece is here, and if I move it, that's fine. But then this comes into play, and you have to understand how it's all connected.
Yeah.
And that's tough, but that's why people like this, and that's why we try to hire good people at the city to figure it out,
Yeah.
so that you can just be like, great. I don't care how they get it done. I got a
It's a
job.
good
I got
day.
a place to live.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yep,
Right? Kids are
yep.
taken care of. I'm living the good life.
Kids are
Thank
in
you,
school,
Topeka
we're
kids.
good. Yeah. No, that works. So, well, yeah, I think that is my final question. Now that you say it, but that makes sense.
Anytime, man. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Now people can hit me up anytime.
Yeah.
DuncanforTopeka.com. That's what all my contact information's there. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's too much.
It's a
Somebody
lot.
did ask me. They're like, "So you're gonna get rid of that other? Is this phone gonna? No, the
No.
phone's not gonna go dead all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Oh, he got married. He doesn't.
Yeah.
The number's been disconnected. Ha ha ha. No, that's fine. You got my number. You got my number.
Yeah.
So I'm not changing it.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. I
There's our-
appreciate
there's
you
our special
again.
edition of the Civic Circus. Back
Yeah.
to our regularly scheduled programming in the future.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks again.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.